The Nashorn. Excerpts of Franklin the Gnome, a barkeep at the Piper's Hut in Edinburgh of Brighton. A gnome that I personally met on one of my cartography travels. While he has no documented history, I'd like to add him to the tomes of history through my work. From what I have personally viewed and what I have garnered from history, he tells an accurate portrayal of the descendants of the Triceratops, known as the Nashorn. Keep in mind that I wrote as fast as I could, and while I had to add a few words, I hope that I captured the little fellow's spirit.
Ah, the Nashorn. A great bunch of lads, good drinkers and better tippers. What's that, you ask? What do they look like? Big fellas. Normally about 8 feet tall, dwarven the smaller folk. Well, they're that tall, they ain't skinny, not by a long shot. Must weigh 600 pounds, and that's the lightest of 'em. I suppose the weight has to do something with thick bones, tough hide, and of course the braw muscle weight. They have about 3 horns on their head, 2 behind the eyes and 1 above the snout. A large bone crest curls off the back of their head, protecting their neck. We don't get many of 'em up this way unless they're rolling through working for the Krieger. What's the Krieger? It's something the Cabal came up with about 20 years ago. It's a mercenary group run by the Cabal. At this moment, only Irkutsk and Europok are hiring them, but they are very qualified. Each unit costs quite a bit of gold. Better the unit, the higher the cost. The last group in Nashorn that came by this way was a month ago. I believe they call themselves the Isitini Nodaka. There were about 50 of them. That's what the 3 came into this place said, at least. Must have fetched a high price too. They bought around for the whole place. The place came alive after that, I tells you. Unfortunately, that's when things got out of hand. Some Germanians started singing a peppy tune, and before you know it, them hornfellows started a jig. Shook the rafters, it did. We had to stop the singing and dancing before they brought down the whole place. Bah! They're a good-hearted folk, for being lizards. Sure, they look mean, and I wouldn't want to run into one in the dark night. But they're alright by me. Now, you talk to some of them Germanians, they got a different aspect of things. Some of our fine patrons were at the Battle of Theramore. You know, the one about 15 years ago, where the whole of Europok rose up to fight against the horde of orcs pouring out of the Tanami? Yeah, that's the one. Anywho, some of the Germanian fellas got to see a unit of Nashorn do what they do best, fight. We got this one fella that comes in regular named Brugroon, and every time he sees one come into the bar, he finishes his beer, pays for the first drink of the lizard, and then hightails it out of the bar. I asked him about it once, you know, when he had a few too many pints. Groon turns white as a sheet, so he does, then shakes his head and lets us in, as well as the rest of the bar, to his little story. At the Battle of Theramore, he was saved by one of them great big lizards, hence the coin. What scared the piss out of him was the Nashorn did after that. He went about killing everything in front of him. Orcs, giants, goblins, didn't really matter, he crushed them all. What scared Groon the most was the calm eyes, like what he was doing was something you'd do any Tuesday. You mark my words, dwarf, no better friend, and no worse enemy than a Nashorn.
He then started to discuss the other species of Mahi, but I have already put in excerpts from William the Bruce, and I didn't believe him about the Kikini. He personally had never met one, and his stories were a bit outlandish and far too extreme, and most likely false, to put into this historical document.